Hello. Today I just wanted to talk for a few minutes about something I've been thinking about a lot lately, and that is wholeheartedness. Brené Brown talks about this a lot, and it's one of the kind of foundation cornerstones of her research and her work, going along with courage and compassion and connection, vulnerability and shame and all of those things. So I am going to read a couple of quotes from the Gifts of Imperfection from Brené, and then talk a little bit about what that means for me and what I think it can mean for all of us if we're willing to step more into our wholeheartedness. She says, how much we know and understand ourselves is critically important, but there is something that is even more essential to living a wholehearted life: loving ourselves. Knowledge is important, but only if we're being kind and gentle with ourselves as we work to discover who we are. Wholeheartedness is as much about embracing our tenderness and vulnerability as it is about developing knowledge and claiming power. I think those things go hand in hand. We need to become more self-aware. We need to get to know ourselves better. And as we get to know ourselves better, we learn to love ourselves more fully. We can look at ourselves as if we would be looking at a best friend. We can start to not just look for the bad and seeing the things we can do to criticize ourselves or being critical of ourselves, but we can look at all the good things, and we can give ourselves grace, realizing that everybody has similar struggles all the time, just to emotionally make it through. We all don't have the same struggles in our lives. We all have many different types of struggles, especially outward struggles. But our inward emotional human struggles, those things are real across the board. We all want to be loved. We all want to be seen as we truly are and accepted for who we really are. And that takes vulnerability. And the vulnerability will help us on the path to wholeheartedness as well. She moves into her introduction in the Gifts of Imperfection by defining what wholehearted living means. She says, wholehearted living is about engaging in our lives from a place of worthiness. It means cultivating the courage, compassion, and connection to wake up in the morning and think, no matter what gets done and how much is left undone, I am enough. It's going to bed at night thinking, yes, I am imperfect and vulnerable and sometimes afraid, but that doesn't change the truth that I am also brave and worthy of love and belonging. She goes on to say, before embarking on any journey, including this one, the journey to wholeheartedness, it's important to talk about what we need to bring along. What does it take to live and love from a place of worthiness? How do we embrace imperfection? I know that's really hard for some people. How do we cultivate what we need and let go of the things that are holding us back? The answers to all of those questions are courage, compassion, and connection, the tools we need to work our way through our journey. She goes on to say that our vulnerabilities are what force us to call upon these amazing tools. Because we're human and so beautifully imperfect, we get to practice using our tools on a daily basis. In this way, courage, compassion, and connection become gifts, the gifts of imperfection. I've just been thinking so much lately about what living with your whole heart means. And to me, it just means really examining our lives individually and deciding what is important to you. It is looking around you and saying, what do I have in my life that I need to stay to live wholeheartedly? And what are some things that I can let go of? What is that like pit in my stomach that needs to loosen? What is causing it? And where is that anxiety coming from? And then we can't control everything in the world, but we do have the ability to control our thoughts and how we think and view the world. I think it's important to gain knowledge. Like she said, it is important to have knowledge, but that's not the most essential thing when you're wanting to live a more wholehearted life. We are needing to practice loving ourselves, being tender with ourselves, giving grace, and also being vulnerable. being vulnerable about how we're actually feeling about things, expressing when our needs are not being met, and looking for people who are willing and wanting to fill those needs, to help us to fill those needs. That is something that's really important. Are the people around you on a daily basis filling your cup, or are they pulling from it? And nobody's going to be 100% all the time filling your cup, because we're all human and we all struggle. And we give grace to others just like we give it to ourselves. But I think about my whole entire heart, and I'm such an emotionally led person, so my heart feels like my center. Some people, they might feel like their center is in their head. Some people might feel like it's in their gut. My heart feels like my center. And so when I think about living wholeheartedly, I mean with everything that I have. And on different days, that's going to look differently. And so today I just wanted to kind of bring those things up, because I think it's important for people to remember. And I also just wanted to remind you to be tender with yourself. Give yourself grace and look at yourself in the mirror with love, because you are worthy of love and belonging. And I know that you are going to be able to find it, even if you have to seek outside of where you're looking for it now. I hope you're having a good weekend.